Just don't touch the phone.
Hey guys. All right, I couldn't figure out how to do it on my phone, or on my laptop. So I'm going live on I can't talk on my phone. Okay, so first off, let's talk about this month. It's awesome. Mop month, right? And then even through the 19th, you can get up to $50 extra shopping spree. Kind of awesome. So that's going through the 19th. Then there's also a flash sale that just got announced. Let me read it to you. They'll have pictures tomorrow. Let me grab it. Okay, so the flash sale starting tomorrow, it says they're going to give you an MVP pack, Ultra Power Plus, 250 grams, and then a set of 4 limited edition facial mitts for only $35.58, and it's 20% off. So this sale starts tomorrow, the 10th, until the 12th at noon. So that is awesome. You can even stack that in your parties to get people to get that mop in their parties and earn it for those hosts. Hi guys, yay, everybody's getting on. So this month is amazing. I love how Norwex every summer has had a mop month since I've done it, usually in July. And just everybody wants the mop. So what a great way for Norwex to help us, because sometimes summer can be slow, right? Let's see. So we were going to talk today about how there's one thing in your business that can really make everything work and everything flow smoothly. So my husband has been reading an awesome book, and he has volunteered to help talk about the one thing, and we're going to just talk about it right now. Oh, I'm seeing people's comments first though. So would the flash sale count towards my sales goal if I purchase it yourself? Yes, Gretchen, it totally counts for any of your own sales goals. So if you want to purchase for you, that's perfect. Or even for giveaways for the future, it's a great idea to get flash sales to give away as incentives to, we'll talk about later, to have people book parties and stuff too. Definitely a good idea. All right. Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Doug.
You can come in the picture.
Okay.
You're prettier.
We're here.
Hi. Okay, so Janae and I have been kind of looking at this book. It's called The One Thing by, what's his name? Gary Keller. The One Thing, the surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results. So we've been chatting about the Norwex setup, right? There's kind of 2 big ways, as you know, to make money in Norwex. There's the sales with parties and all that sort of thing. And then there's the getting a big team, getting lots of consultants, and that kind of turns into recurring revenue with less work, sort of, than the parties. But, so this book, it applies to all parts of life, but we're thinking about our businesses, of course. So like the question that the author asks, first he kind of goes through what are some big lies and myths that most people believe that are really untrue. I'll just give you a little quickie here. So these lies mislead and derail us. The first one is that everything matters equally in life. That's not true. The second is that multitasking actually works, which is also not true. The next one is that you should have a disciplined life. He goes into why that's actually not true. It's kind of intriguing. Another one, willpower is always on will call, meaning you should always be using your willpower all the time. That kind of wears out. Another one, big lie, is that there's such a thing as a balanced life. We all try to have a balanced life, but the more we try to do everything, the less we do anything meaningful. And the last one is that big is bad. And that goes for Norwex too, like that dreaming, we shouldn't have big dreams. Well, why not? We can have big dreams. But the point he tries to get to is this one. He says, what's the one thing? This is the question we should all ask ourselves. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Okay, so you can ask that in all parts of your life. You could say, okay, with my health, what's the one thing I can do with my health such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's eating better, whatever. But picking that one thing that's like the crucial thing that will sort of permeate into every other part of that area of your life. So when it comes to Norwex, I mean, there's lots of things we can focus on in the business. You could focus on training your recruits. You could spend all your time doing that. You could spend all your time selling product. You could spend all your time, I don't know, building a website, and any number of things. But the question is really, what's the one thing that if you do this one thing, like he says, such that by doing it, everything else in your business will become easier or even unnecessary. Like it'll just kind of happen on its own. Mm-hmm. So talking through a bunch of our tactics that we've been trying, it seems like the one thing that holds the whole business together, it's probably no big surprise, is parties, right? If you can have a consistent pipeline of parties, whether it's home parties or Facebook parties, that kind of covers it. Even if you are trying to do both sides of the business at the same time, if you're trying to do the parties and get consultants and train them, it might seem counterintuitive that focusing on getting parties first will help you to build your team, but it does, right? Because you try to, as Janae knows the Norwex terminology stuff better, but what is it, 4-2-2 or something?
4-2-2.
Yeah, you're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But like, even Chris Carlson talks about how the first thing she does every month is make sure her pipeline of parties is solid. And if that's not in place, she does everything she can, incentives, all sorts of other things to get that in place, and that keeps everything else going. So Janae's going to now go into some ideas about how to get started with a good pipeline of parties, how to keep it going, and then also she's going to talk, I think, about what happens if you start off and your first few parties are total duds and you feel stuck. Well, now what? I exhausted all my friends. I exhausted my, what do I do? Should I just give up? Or what can I do? Okay, so.
All right. Okay, so that is the one thing for Norwex. It would be parties, right? And so a lot of us are not having steady calendars. So I want you guys to think about why. What is the reason you don't have a steady calendar? And then along with that, let's talk about, first off, we've talked before about your why. So why are you doing Norwex? Think about that. And then once you've got that established, I want you to think, is this a job or is this a hobby for you? And if it can be either one, that's completely fine. But either way, you can still take it seriously. If it's a job and you need that income, think of it like that. If it's a hobby and you just really want to do it for fun, you love sharing the mission of Norwex, that's great. That's going to be how you think of it. So I want you to think about that, and you guys can share below too what you're thinking. And then also, I want you to think about how long it takes to do a party. Even if you're doing a Facebook party or a home party, they're usually about 3 to 4 hours. So factor that in, and then I want you to think, what's your minimum amount of parties that you would like to have to be considered like a full party schedule for you? And what's your max per month? So with Norwex, they recommend the 4-2-2, which is 4 parties a month, and they're talking home parties. You can do either home or Facebook, of course. Then 2 is the 2 bookings per party, which is what we all want, at least 2 bookings, because then you're set if one party doesn't have as many, keeping your calendar full. And then 2 recruiting conversations per party. So thinking along those lines can really help before you even start thinking about why you don't have parties yet. Figure out what you want for your schedule, what your goal is of how many parties you want a month. And then I want you to just think about what's holding you back from getting there. And if you do have parties on your calendar but you want more, what's holding you back from getting more? And think of those things. I'm going to have a challenge at the end I'll post, and we'll all write down what our one thing is we're going to work on this month. As far as getting parties booked. But for me, I think the biggest challenge is objections. Everybody has an excuse to not want to host a party. And I have a ton of great resources I will also share on how to address those objections. Learning that has really helped me to keep a full calendar. I've learned how to, most times people just they're scared. They have the fear. So you can address how to help them through that. Oh, this is fun. Establish that parties are fun. Or what else is there? I'm too busy. One thing Amy Fulmer says for that one is, oh, everybody, I bet all your friends are so busy too. I bet they would love to have a girls' night and get together and actually see each other and hang out. Of course, that's for home parties. For Facebook, you say, how fun is it that we can have a Facebook party in our pajamas and all chat online and get together. So, we're going to talk about objections, and I want you guys to this month also look into practice either through Messenger or in your parties you have right now. Practice of addressing those objections, and I'll give you tips in a minute on that for Facebook. And then also, if you're doing home parties, start practicing what you're gonna say. If people say, I'm too busy, I can't, or I don't think any of my friends would come, stuff like that. And getting out of your comfort zone is huge. That is the other thing that has helped me keep a full party calendar is, I have accepted the challenge because I'm a very shy person naturally, that because I'm so passionate about Norwex, I am willing to go out of my comfort zone and share it with others, no matter how awkward I feel, because it's something in my mind that I really, really want to share with others. It is worth me feeling awkward to bless someone else's life. So
can I do a little summary thing?
You bet.
Okay, so at the beginning we said, what's the one thing that'll help your business? And we basically said, well, parties.
Right.
And then Janae just gave you a whole bunch of things of how you could focus on your parties. So the challenge we're going to give you is we're going to ask you to define for yourself what, like the book says, you're going to have you ask the question about your parties, okay? What is the one thing I can do with regard to my Norwex parties such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So it's going to be different for all of you. For one of you, it might be, I'm going to work on my shyness for a whole month. That's the one thing I'm going to focus on with regard to my parties. Or for somebody else, it might be, I'm going to work on overcoming objections. I've had a whole problem with that. So my one thing, let's say for this month, is going to be sealing off the exits of these objections, because everyone's looking for an escape route. They object, well, I can't do that, it's too expensive. Oh, you have an answer for that. We seal off that exit. Oh, I have this objection, my husband is blah blah blah
skeptical.
Blah. Whatever. Yeah. Well, I was too, but just have him call me. We'll have the husband skeptical hotline. And so we seal that exit off. We come up with all the objections we can think of, all these escape routes, and we have an answer for that. Maybe your one thing is, I have 5 kids and another job, and time is just a hard thing. Okay, so actually, this is a real time saver. We were going to talk about time management tonight, but we kind of actually are, because by picking the one thing that you can focus on, disregard everything else with regard to parties this month, and just focus on that one thing, that's actually quite a time saver, because you're not getting distracted. We have all these groups and things, which are wonderful because there's lots of ideas, but sometimes it's overwhelming. It's like, I can't handle any more advice. I got to stop and focus. So our goal tonight is for you to pick one thing for the month of July that you can work on, that you think by doing that one thing will help you increase the number and the success of your parties.
Awesome. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Doug. So, back to the objections, though. So, a lot of you have started out and...
Can I post this while you're talking about it?
Probably. We'll try posting them. So, a lot of times, you start out and maybe you had 1 or 2 parties on your calendar, but you never got a full 6 parties to start out, or maybe you didn't get bookings off of them, and then your party calendar's dropped. It happens to all of us. And so what some tips are that have helped me for Facebook is I have roll call, I have 3 different games in the parties, and when I choose the winner, I don't randomly choose. I go through and I pick the person that seems very interested or in either the business or the products or whatever, and then I have them fill out a prize form, and I think some others have talked about this. And the prize form says, are you interested in hosting a party? Yes, no, maybe in the future. I have 3 or 4 things. And if they fill that out and it says maybe, then I'll message them and say, hey, you said maybe, would you be interested in July? It's mop month, you could totally earn the mop, or if you're too busy, we could do a month later. That has been huge for me by picking and choosing my prize winners, especially in Facebook, because then you get people messaging you to give their address, and then I say, hey, can you actually fill out this prize form? So it helps me keep track and make sure I ship out your prize. So that's one way that you can. Another way is with this sale going on. Christina's done it before, where if you have someone randomly order, or in your VIP group, you message them and say, hey, do you want to apply this to your own party rewards and get a jump start? That has gotten me quite a few bookings from VIPs, and I usually don't, VIPs have already hosted, usually they don't want to host again, but I've had people who've done 2 or 3 parties because they have that jump start in their party, getting the rewards. They're like, oh, well then, yeah, I could do this. So that's something you can do with this flash sale. Also, extra incentives. There's been one I've used from Vanessa Smith that's been good, where the first night I post, if the first 3 people who book, I will give a body cloth, and it's only for tonight. So if your party calendar is not where you want and you have a few parties already, work those parties to try to get at least 2 to 3 party bookings. You could offer the host even something. If they got 2 or 3 parties booked, you can offer the host as well as the people who book parties. And it's completely worth taking that money out to give them prizes if you need to, or just give them something you have on hand. Cut a sample even out. Because the party is key, you guys. If we have parties, we're going to get sales. We're going to get more bookings. That's exactly what we need. Okay, for the prize form, I will post you guys what I have. It's pretty simple. And I think I can make a copy so you guys can just copy it yourself in a Google Doc or Google form. I think it's a form. Yeah, anyway, I'll post that. And then, especially if you have a grand prize winner, that's when you really look through and just look and see who you think would love Norwex and want to host or want to join your team. That is honestly the best way that I've gotten recruits and gotten more bookings. So I hope that helps. And then if you just don't have anybody booked, anybody like booking parties, you say, I've exhausted all my friend circle, I dare you, go through your Facebook friends, every one of them, and look through any that maybe you haven't talked to before, or look around, write down names in your neighborhood of people, and you can go and do booking bags where you could bring something for them to try at their house, and say, borrow this for 24 hours, and then let me know what you think, and if you love it, you can keep it if you book a party with me. Or you could do, say, I've had a challenge from my team. I'll give you this challenge now. But I have to do 5 butter demos. Can I just show you a quick demo for my business that I'm trying to get these demos going for? And then when they see that, you can say, hey, do you want to earn these free? If you book a party, it will totally help me out. I would appreciate it so much. And then you can earn these free, and it'll be amazing for your home. So you get out of your circle or get out of your comfort zone. Really, really, I dare you guys, and I challenge you to do that, because that is the other thing that's been key for me, is just sharing it. And it can even be on Facebook. If you see somebody, I've seen my friends that have posted that they had their kid get ink in their couch. So I was daring. I got nervous. I was getting nervous because you worry. But I said, hey, I have this Norwex that I think could really help. Can I bring it by? And she didn't actually even respond. And so I even texted her, no response. And then I just decided, I'm just going to drop it by. So I came over one night, and she and her husband were both there. She's like, oh, I've been meaning to message you. Oh, I would love to try this stuff. I've heard about Norwex. Thank you so much. And then I followed up with her a week or 2 later, and she said, it totally got out the the ink from my couch. And then I said to her, oh, my neighbor in our area is hosting a party and she needs a booking. Would you want to book a party to get things on your wish list? And she said yes. So if I had not gone out of my comfort zone, and even when she'd said no, I mean, who's going to say no to free stuff? I was like, okay, I'm just going to drop this off. There's no harm in dropping it off, giving her a free sample. And she was grateful for it. And I don't think anybody's going to say, no thanks. Who are you? Like, if you're just dropping off something, a sample, right? Or even if you say, hey, I just brought this up for you to try to fix your couch. I need it back though. If you need it back, that's no problem. But try things like that to just watch on Facebook people that are looking for, looking for cleaning. I had my cousin even post that he needs a new toothbrush. What's the best kind? And I said, Norwex. And I can help you get one. So that's another idea. Let's see what Christina's saying. My kids walk our neighborhood. Oh yes, her son has been going and selling packages of, that's hilarious. I love it. And people love this stuff. It's true. They just have to see it. Okay, is this the camera working? Okay, yeah. So I hope that's been helpful. We will have a post go up that says this. Let me find it. Okay, so we call it the July One Thing Challenge. What's keeping you from having the party calendar you want? What one thing will you focus on this month to get parties booked? And bonus points if it gets you out of your comfort zone. Alrighty. Doug, any other thoughts?
Yes. I think often, I've noticed this with Janae, she has this, what we call pig-headed discipline and determination.
When right? I'm passionate about something, okay? Yes. When I don't want to do the dishes, it's not going to happen.
She doesn't usually have pig-headed discipline and determination with the dishes, nor do I. But there's something about the Norwex, because it's helped her life so much. She's had a transformation in her life that it's been this revelatory kind of thing, and that naturally translates to wanting to share that. It's like if you had the cure for cancer, would you keep that to yourself? That'd be awfully selfish of you, right? There's people dying left and right. You would go share this secret with them, and you wouldn't let anything get in your way. Not the fear, not their objections, not the price, not the anything. Because like when that person goes to the doctor and gets the diagnosis, you have cancer, suddenly they will do anything to get it when they realize the problem, right? And so as a Norwex consultant, of course, we're not necessarily curing cancer, but we are solving problems, right? Really, we're problem solvers. And I heard this marketing story from this guy. He's talking about this famous fisherman off the coast of Maine. And he had normally one person has like a personal fishing license. Well, he had a commercial fishing license, which normally a big company has. And he could reel in every day more fish on his own than the commercial fishing boats. And people were like, how is this guy doing this every single day? In good weather, in bad weather, whether the fish were biting or not, he could rake in all of these fish. It was incredible. So finally the newspapers caught on. They started interviewing this guy, and they asked him, what is your secret? And he said something really simple. He said, all of these guys going out to fish, they think like fishermen. I think like a fish. And because he was thinking like a fish, and he was studying their behaviors, he was thinking about where they would be, why they would be there based on the time of year, based on the temperature of the water, all those things. He was thinking like a fish. You guys have the answers. You have the solution to these people's issues that they don't even realize they have an issue. Maybe they're wasting tons of money on paper towels. Maybe they're not healthy because their toothbrush is still full of strep throat because they don't have the silver in their toothbrush. There's all sorts of reasons why, and you guys know how to demonstrate all of those fantastically. But I think sometimes what I've noticed, just from observing parties and things, is sometimes the Norwex consultant kind of gets blinders on. No, you got to see this, you got to see this. But sometimes the customer's not thinking the way you are. So sometimes you're thinking like a Norwex consultant rather than thinking like a potential Norwex customer. Thinking about them. What do they need? What are their wants? What are their wishes? What do they wake up at night worried about? And, Norwex can't solve all their problems, but it can solve a lot of the around-the-house problems. And I think the more that Janae, from what I've seen, has thought about them, their needs, how are they viewing the situation, the more she's been able to come up with, even on the spot, to her great surprise, she can come up with some helpful way that they go, oh, yeah, I do need that. I didn't even realize. Mm-hmm. And I love it because she comes in, guess what? I'm so brilliant, my shy little wife, because she's thinking like them. She's not thinking like, I'm the Norwex consultant and I must, smash all these people into oblivion and make them buy. No, she's thinking like, well, how can I serve them? How can I help them with their issues in their life? That goes a long way. Because nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So if they really feel like, even through fiber optic cables on a Facebook party, if they can tell that you care about them and their success, saving them money with their cleaning, with their health in their house, whatever the situation may be, if they can tell you care, they will pay more attention. And they'll be more likely to have that revelatory moment like Janae had in her own life. And they may not become a consultant one day, but they'll catch that spark, okay? So I guess to just sum it all up, you're all different. You all have unique capabilities, unique ways of doing things, and you're all fantastic Norwex consultants. So we're challenging you to take some time, take at least an hour in the next day or two, and just sit there and think and use this amazing brain you have and come up with what is the one thing that I can focus on this month in my Norwex parties, that by focusing on that one thing, it'll take care of everything else. And you may fail at first. Okay, well hurry up and fail and then move on to the next thing and focus on that, right? And this is an ongoing thing, but you can do it. You can totally do it. I believe in you.
You can. Even if you have no parties right now, you can book one. I challenge all of you to book at least one party this month. You can do it. And go back to that. It really is, if you care. Like my friend, I think that came across as I cared about her, trying to help bring a solution to her. She just had her 5th child, new baby, house is always crazy with kids everywhere. So showing that you care, even with your hosts that you're current, especially with your host, that could be a really key thing. If you're not having as good of parties, look back at the host. How was your host coaching? Had that host tried any Norwex before? If they hadn't, how come? Why did they not buy in the party before? Kind of look at, I guess, analyze. It's not always you either. Sometimes it's just hosts and it's just, they don't care. But if there's something you can do to make them feel special and feel like Norwex is a solution, but that you are there as a friend too, that's going to really help your parties too. I saw that a few of you were saying, I've had just some dud parties. I've done everything I could. In that case, sometimes it's just going to be a dud party. And that's how it is. So,
which is why it's often better to have 6 or 8 parties on the calendar, because statistically, if you have, let's say, 8 parties, and 3 of them end up being duds, well, you have a buffer zone.
Yeah, or you keep working on incentives for each party to try to get at least 2 bookings. So then if one can't tanks, you still have an extra booking from another party to make up for it. That's kind of how I've done it, is I try to overbook so that it's totally okay if something happens and there's a dud and you can move on more easily. But
should we end with the bit about the giving up the business builder bonus, maybe, if it's needed to, or should we not deal with that?
We could. For sales leaders and up, if you can get that business builders bonus that you've probably heard about, where you get up to 6% of additional sale income from your team. And for me, sometimes I've been focusing on trying to get that versus helping the recruits out to sign up when it's best for them and when they've had when they've got at least 2 to 4 parties, preferably 6, lined up for the next 6 weeks. So I've been trying. I've realized that's not going to pay off in the long run, because if you're just having them sign up and they're not quite ready with their parties, they might not have that strong start. And people who have strong starts and qualify with 2,000 in sales definitely are more likely to stay because they've succeeded from the beginning.
We have some statistics somewhere.
Yeah,
We don't have
Norwex
them right
does.
here, but
Yeah. It's like 70% of, I don't remember, but yeah, that they stay active if they get their kit free.
I mean, we love that Norwex does the business builder bonus. It's fantastic, but it's kind of a potential trap, because if you sign somebody up too quick just to get the bonus, especially at the end of the month or whatever, and it ends up that they have a hard time because they only had one party scheduled, and they said, oh, I've already exhausted everything, I'm going to give up, or it's kind of shooting yourself in the foot. I personally would rather give up a business builder bonus, let it go a little longer, let them take their time getting their parties lined up so they can have a bang up start and get going solidly. That's going to pay you more in the long run anyway.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to you're in their best interest, and maybe it'll work out in your favor, maybe it won't, but if you, like Christina did this for me, I think it was the beginning of May when I went to a party of hers, and then I told her I want to sign up, but we're moving, so I think I want to do it once we move. She's like, that's totally fine. So I joined at the end of May, and it was no big deal. She was totally fine with it. So if you make sure that it works when it's best timing for those new recruits, that's going to be worth it. Even if you don't get the special incentive going on that month for Norwex, it's worth it because you'll keep a longer term recruit. But
yeah, you're thinking like the fish again instead of like the fishermen.
Exactly, yeah.
Worrying about their needs instead of yours.
Yeah, so I know we've gone over. We had last month, Heather talked about the fortune is in the follow-up, and then we had a challenge to get people to 1,500 in sales. So we have a winner, and it is Jillian Griggs. I think you were still on here. You have earned or won a travel pack, which is awesome because they're discontinuing them, but I think they'll have new ones out with different colors next month. But so yay, congrats, message Heather Schaefer, and she will get that for you. And then we will have Magnetic EnviroCloth as the winner, or as the roll call, or the, what do you call it? Yeah, roll call raffle post or prize. So I'll announce that right after this. And then we'll have a prize going for the challenge that you guys, I will post as well for this month. To get out of your comfort zone, figure out that one thing that you can do this month to help your business. And also remember, National Conference is next week. No, is it? Yeah, it's next week.
Or 2 weeks.
Well, or 2 weeks. I can't remember.
2 weeks.
So, anyway, new products are coming out. You can talk about that to a lot of your past customers, especially if they order this flash sale, and try to get some parties from that too. So, all right, guys, I'll answer any questions if you got any more after this, and it's been good to talk with you, and you guys can do it. If I can do it, really, me, you guys can do it. All right, talk to you guys later.